Okay, thanks for sticking around with Going Live with FCTV. Joining me right now, Chef Mario Porreca, who just judged the competition, and also Bill Alexander.
Do you really have to tell him who he is? He was just over there.
Of Just Cooking.
Jeez, I'm working with amateurs.
Yeah, they talk. Limit the words. You don't have to
I kind
talk
of figured
that
he's
much,
been
right?
doing this long enough. I mean, Mike Sackley on the radio, Matt Dowling here. I mean, you'd figure by now. Hey, look who came today.
What's that?
Luigi.
Oh, he makes an appearance. We haven't seen him in a long time.
Luigi's been hiding. Well, you can't really see him very well on the radio.
Did you have to kidnap him to get him here?
Well, actually, I had to clean out my son's bedroom to find him. But hey, hi, Luigi. Okay, that's enough.
Okay. So we're going to cook. Now, one thing I want to mention is, I know it's Thanksgiving. I know that you already ate your turkey and all that stuffing, potatoes, and we're going to make stuffing. Why?
Oh, good.
Because we actually filmed this a little early, and there's people here live, so
That's
they can
right.
actually use this. So the moral of the story is, come see us live. You'll get more out of it.
Right. And also, we have stuff to give away from WMBS, too,
Yes.
where we're at every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. And
For Just Cook It Radio.
Just Cook It Radio. Hey, we made spaghetti on the radio. Has anybody had spaghetti on the radio before?
I've never had anything
It was
on the radio.
entertaining, to
It
say
was
the
fun.
least.
And next Saturday, we're making mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes on the radio.
Okay,
well,
so-
actually, they were on TV, too, because we're on Channel 77
right here on
every
FCTV.
Sunday and Tuesday following the... These won't go on. The Herald Standard House to Home Show.
You're
House
having,
to
I'm
house.
having some real issues
Yes,
with these
I am.
gloves.
Okay, so now getting to the actual cooking. We're
Wait.
going to be.
I got to get the gloves on. Okay, I'm ready.
You ready?
Yeah,
Do you buy small
agree.
gloves just to...
No,
make it
it's one
interesting for
size
Bill?
fits all.
Yeah,
That's the
okay,
problem.
right.
They
Except
fit
for
me
Bill.
perfectly.
except for me.
So, what we have here, we're going to be making our my wild mushroom and roasted shallot stuffing. It's one of my favorite stuffings. It's super simple. Not the box stuff. You know, people get that stuff out of the box and they think it's... what's in the box?
You mean
Right?
stovetop? Yeah, it's in the box. That's right.
Yeah, it's not, stovetop. We don't do that. We're going to make our own here. And you can add so many different flavors and different things to it. We just happen to do mushrooms and shallots this week. So, what I have here is some chicken stock. You can use vegetable stock if you're a vegan. You can use turkey stock if you want to use turkey. But I use chicken. I brought it to a boil, and I added about an ounce of dried mushrooms. We got portobellos and porcinis. Okay? If you want to do
now,
a
what's
mix,
the
you can
difference
do a
between
mix.
a portobello and porcini mushroom?
Two different types of mushroom.
Okay.
You get a little bit of different flavor profile.
Do they
little
grow in the
difference in
same
the
place?
earthiness. They both grow in the ground, yeah.
Yep.
So,
Thanks.
portobello and porcini. You can use whatever you want. If you like oyster mushrooms, if you like, whatever
Right.
mushroom you find dry that you like. Shiitakes you can use are
Shiitake?
fine. So, the next thing, one of the real important thing with stuffing is bread, okay? You can use any kind of bread you like. This is a white bread that I bought. It's not the white stuff that you get in the bag.
Right.
But it's the stuff from the bakery, they call it home-style white
Okay,
bread.
okay.
It's a little crustier, and I just diced it, okay? And what I did was, when I made the croutons, and you can feel these, Bill, if you want, they're not soft. So what I did was, I diced the bread, and then I mixed in some warmed, softened butter with them. And then I put them in the oven, 300 degrees, 30 minutes. Rotate the pan after 15 minutes, and you get these nice croutons, okay? They're really rich, really good, and that's what we're going to use to make our stuffing. So we'll just set those over there.
Okay. Hey,
So-
what did the one mushroom say to the other mushroom?
What's that?
Hey, you're a fun guy.
Bill.
I love it. The audience isn't responding.
So the next thing we're going to do...
laughs.
The next thing we're going to do, while that's chilling out, so we got our bread, right, and we got our mushrooms in our
Mushrooms.
stock. You want to let those sit for about 30 minutes at home
Okay.
before you do anything else with them. So you just let them sit in the stock. It's going to reconstitute the mushrooms,
Okay.
which is going to let us use those mushrooms, and it's going to turn that stock into a mushroom stock, so we get all that flavor from those
Makes
dried
sense.
mushrooms. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to turn our pan on. I'm going to let it heat up, and I have some sliced baby portobellos. Okay,
Ooh,
right
they look
here.
good.
And these are just fresh baby portobellos, baby bellas. Didn't even take the stems off, just cleaned them, washed them, and sliced them. Okay. Some butter, about a half a stick. And if you ask why we're using so much butter, it's because mushrooms are they're like a sponge.
And
They
they
just
absorb
suck up
everything in.
everything. So we're going to start by melting our butter in our
Yep.
pan.
And plus, it's Thanksgiving. You're allowed to splurge every once in a
That's
while,
right. Absolutely. And the thing about this is, whenever you're making mushrooms, like they are like sponges, but sponges
Yeah.
go both ways. You can wring a sponge out and a lot of liquid comes out. We don't want that to happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to melt our butter, and once it starts to kind of simmer a little bit and it starts to pop and foam, then we're going to add our mushrooms to that. While we're waiting for that, I have some shallots here. What a shallot is, do you know what a shallot is?
No, go ahead. Tell me.
What a shallot is it's like an onion, okay, from the same family.
Okay.
But they're smaller and they're sweeter, okay, and they generally have a pink color to them. So what I did was I took the shallots, I tossed them with a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper, and put them in the oven. Took about 2 hours at 300 degrees.
To make 5 shallots.
Well, I made more
6.
than that, but
Oh,
there's
okay.
6 here. Okay, so you can do however many you want at a
Okay.
time, and they usually last about a week.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So in other words, you can make them in advance and then have them
Absolutely,
for
yeah.
later on for other meals. Okay,
Yeah,
that
you
makes
can use them
sense.
for all different things, not just stuffing. You can make dips with them. You can do all kinds of stuff.
Oh, that'd be a
So-
good French onion dip.
Absolutely.
Oh, that
one
sounds
of my
real good.
favorites. So we have our roasted shallots here. See how they're kind of golden brown?
Right.
That's nice. That's what you want. That's that caramelization of the sugars coming out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my knife and just give them a rough chop, okay? We're just doing this for stuffing, so you don't have to get real technical with your knife cuts.
Now,
And-
are you julienne cuts, or are you doing the hack it with a knife cut?
Hack it with a knife cut.
Okay,
These
that's
are
what I
just,
thought. I
this
just
is
wanted to
just a
make
rough
sure.
chop. See, we're going to run our knife through just a couple, just to get them so that you don't get a mouthful of shallot in your stuffing,
Right.
but we still want the flavor to be there. And keep in mind, these are already cooked. They're caramelized. They're very sweet.
They smell really good too. If you guys were up here or at home, they smell wonderful.
Yeah, you could just eat these just like this, actually. I've been known to do that
Have
before.
you really with a
Yeah.
spoon?
Yeah, absolutely.
see that.
Just pull one out of the bag, throw it in your mouth, and you're good to go. Okay, so our butter's getting there. I'm going to turn this heat up just a hair. Now, another thing we have here are these fresh herbs. Mushrooms go with a variety of herbs. What I have here, and you can change this up at home if you want, what I have here is rosemary and tarragon, okay, about 2 sprigs of each. And again, we're just going to run our knife through. You don't want to mince them super, super fine, but you just want to get them to the point where you release the oils.
I was just
Yeah.
going to ask you, why are you cutting them then if you don't want to do them fine, just to release the oils within
Yeah,
them,
release
right?
the essential oils. And
Okay.
again, you don't want someone to get a big mouthful of an herb. So we're just going to run it through a couple times. What will happen is if you chop herbs too much, they'll turn black.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
Why
you don't
is
want to
that?
do that. From the chlorophyll that's in them, it'll actually get the heat from chopping because it causes friction
Okay,
in the chlorophyll.
that makes sense.
So you have to, the only way to combat that, what we used to do is we used to chop our herbs really, really fine. You put them in cheesecloth, run them under water to rinse that excess chlorophyll, and then you bring them out and let them dry. Then they'll stay green. But
Okay, makes sense.
when you're at home, that's a lot of trouble for not a lot of results. So I actually lost the heat on my burner, so
Uh-oh.
Matt Dowling's going to go have to
Your
figure that out.
We just popped
Burner
a circuit.
has no heat.
Yeah.
Do we
So,
have a switch right under there?
We back on?
okay, so
Yeah.
what we're going to do is we would add our mushrooms. Are you fixing this or what?
Did you have a switch right there?
Yeah, it popped it. So we must have popped the main one again.
So
Live
we're gonna
TV,
pretend-
don't you love
We're
it?
going to pretend this is on. So what you want to do is add your mushrooms, right? And then the mushrooms are going to cook. It's going to take about 4 minutes. Once they start to cook, you're going to add your shallots, your
Okay.
herbs, okay?
I was going to say, do you
About
have any,
2 teaspoons of garlic, minced garlic.
do you have any
okay?
steak around? Because they would look good on that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll work.
good.
And then what you're going to do, this is all going to cook. You're going to deglaze with some white wine, okay?
Now,
Let
what deglaze? What does that mean? Just pour it over
means-
top of it?
Yeah, as it
Sprinkle it? What?
cooks, there's going to be a bunch of flavorful little bits on the bottom of the pan.
Okay.
And you want to get those up because that's all flavor. So you add the wine to scrape the bottom of the pan
Gotcha.
to get all that flavor out, and then you cook it down, and it makes it like a nice, almost ragu
Oh, really?
of mushrooms. Mhm.
Okay.
So the next step to the process would be, while that's cooking, we're going to take our mushrooms that have been soaking in our chicken stock, and we're just going to run them through a strainer. Okay?
They smell good, too.
Yeah. And as you can see how dark that liquid's gotten, that was just regular chicken stock before, which was the golden color that it normally is. And you can just buy that
Now,
at the
how
store.
long were they sitting in the chicken stock again?
Now, at home, I'd like them to sit for at least a half an hour.
Okay.
But here, what would you say that was, about 10 minutes?
10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, so I'm just going to give them a little press to get any
Now,
excess
please
moisture
tell
out.
me you're not throwing all this away.
No.
Okay, I just wanted to make
That's
sure.
like liquid gold
Well,
right there.
that's what I thought, and I didn't want to
So,
waste that time to do that.
What we're going to do is going to take our mushrooms here that we
Okay.
just reconstituted. How's the electrical situation?
I think the electrical is back on. Do you have heat?
Yes, I see something coming up.
Nope.
Nope.
No.
So
The lights came back on.
we've got our mushroom stock here.
We're gonna have to cook over an open flame. I don't know if
Find
we
me
can
an
do that
open
in the mall.
flame. And we're going to just give our
Wait, where's
mushrooms again
Pam?
a rough
Yeah.
chop.
She's not here. Let's.
That's not covered in our liability, I'm sure.
Well, she's not here. We can
Yeah.
do it. She'd never know.
Okay, so we're going to give our mushrooms a rough chop.
Okay.
These are the dried ones that are reconstituted. So this gives us just dried mushrooms have a much more mushroomy flavor
Why is
than
that?
fresh mushrooms because they've been dried. Anything that you dehydrate really concentrates the flavor.
Okay, that makes
Think,
sense.
think
I mean,
beef jerky.
yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so we give that a chop. These go into our pan as well. So this is all cooking. You have to use your imagination.
Yeah.
It's like the Disney Channel over here.
No, it's Mr. Rogers. There should
Yeah.
be a little trolley. Well, there's a trolley right there. We'll just have to go in circles.
I hope we don't get sued for saying that. But so we have all that together. Now, what you would do is to make your stuff. We're back.
We got heat. See
How
the
much
magic
time-
of live TV.
How much time do we have to do?
We're doing our own cooking show after this. What are you talking
So-
about?
What we would do is this. We'll take our bread, right? Now, notice I didn't season this yet. Is my
there,
mic
you're
on?
on,
Okay.
you're good. That's
Because you don't want to draw the water out of the mushrooms. Again, it's like think sponge. You don't want to draw that water out. Sear. So think about like when you cook beef.
Yes.
And you sear the beef.
Right.
Same thing here. You want to sear it. You don't want to steam them or stew them.
Okay.
Is my microphone cutting in and out, or is it just me?
I'm
The
noticing
light
lights
turned
are
off for a
flashing,
second, too.
So we're gonna let this cook for just a few minutes. Hopefully we can. Matt, tell us some more Thanksgiving
Is
jokes.
there sprinkler systems around here? Because
There is. I understand they turned the smoke off, but we don't
Okay.
have to worry about the heat detectors because it's our pan hasn't been on.
Yeah, it's
so.
long enough. There you go. It's sizzling if you can listen closely.
So Mario, I have to because I'm a novice, a beginner here. How do you sear that rather than?
High heat.
So mushrooms, for instance, what you would want to do is have a nice big pan, high heat, use an oil that takes a high smoking point.
Which would be?
Say canola oil
Okay.
or something of that nature. You don't want to use all extra virgin olive oil. Regular olive oil is okay, like virgin or regular, but not extra virgin. Smoke point's too low. Peanut oil is okay. So you get your oil super hot, lay your mushrooms in a flat layer, and they'll get golden brown on each side instead of getting all wilty and watery and just not good.
Now, like when you wash your mushrooms beforehand, is there danger in doing that because you said it's like a
Yeah.
could that take too
It
much
will
water on?
it will absorb some water. So the best way to wash your mushrooms, what I've always done, is just got a wet, damp paper towel and wipe them to get the excess dirt off of them, and that tends to work really well. You can run them underwater, but I wouldn't soak them in water like overnight because they will soak up some of that moisture. So back to our stuffing. At this point, we have our bread. It's been toasted, and when you're making stuffing, you always want your bread either dried or toasted. Just because we talked about this on the radio show, because if it's not toasted, it'll get soggy and mushy and gummy, and it won't be as
Which we
good.
talked about the difference between stuffing and dressing.
Actually, a dress.
The dressing is served with the bird, while the stuffing is cooked inside the bird. So this is a dressing. So it's being done outside or away from.
And what did you learn about
turkey.
that?
What's
Why should you not cook your stuffing in your bird?
Because it gets all gummy.
And the USDA says no.
Right. And
Okay.
salmonella would be your friend.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
So what we're going to do now is we have our bread here. We have our mushroom mixture.
Yeah.
Generally, you want to let this cool down to about room temperature. But I do what I want. Time permitting, you let this cool down. You add that to your bread. Okay. Now you can season it. You can season it at this point, which we're going to use salt and pepper.
No, it's kosher salt.
I like sea salt,
Sea
but
salt.
you can use kosher. Okay, some fresh ground black pepper. We're also going to add 1 egg. Okay, it's been beaten because he wasn't listening, so I beat him.
Yeah, I did that too.
I was
We're gonna
wondering where
add-
that was going to go.
Yeah, I was
I
too.
felt it was hanging in the air.
Yeah.
Our mushroom stock. Okay, I like to add a half at a time
And why is that?
just to make sure it gets mixed in really well,
Okay.
and it gives the bread a little time to soak up that liquid. Okay. Now, I like to use my hands for this. That's why I have gloves on. And you just make sure you just want to get it all mixed together completely. And again, this is really hot.
I was going to say you didn't let it cool down to room temperature either.
No.
It's a good job for him and not you.
They let the old guy watch, is what it is.
Okay,
So
so
now-
now
Oh,
we'll
I'm
put the
sorry.
rest of our stock in. And this
Mario,
is going
is
to keep
this
it
something?
moist.
This is something you're doing it in a bowl. You're going to bake it. next.
Yes.
Well,
correct?
that's
So could you
that's
do
why-
it
So-
right in the?
That's why is this
I know.
here?
I'm filled the
Oh,
heat.
why is the
coming
baking?
right,
You can do it
No.
in a baking dish.
right in the baking dish rather than?
I wouldn't. I would do it in a bowl, and I'm going to
Okay.
show you why. So this all gets mixed together. You should re-season it, okay? And then what we have here is our dish. I like to use an 8 by 8 inch pan to give it some thickness.
Okay.
I have a piece of a pat of butter in there. You want to butter your pan. Get
Okay.
it buttered all the way around so it doesn't stick. Pour that in there. And I also forgot what you add at the very end before you pour it in here. I have some fontina cheese. Okay, and what that does is gives it a little creaminess, cheesiness, richness, and I like fontina because it melts really well and it
Okay.
goes really well with mushrooms. So mix it all together in your buttered baking dish, and then pop it in an oven, 350 degrees, uncovered, for 45 minutes. And you always want to use the thermometer. Stick an Insta-Read thermometer in the center. 165 degrees is the magic number. Okay, and when it's done, it looks a little something like this. Okay, you get that nice golden brown top. It's a little crunchy. And then you can either, I know we talked about stuffing on the radio
Right,
show.
how
You
do you
said you
serve?
just put a spoon in and would
What
spoon it
basically
out.
what my wife does is she pulls it into a bowl and then we go from there
So-
instead of that. Brett, can you come in and get a shot of this on what it looks like on top?
Got that? Can you
Is it-
smell it? It smells
It
of
smells wonderful.
mushrooms.
Is what it smells like.
You got it? Does it look
Got it.
nice?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so we'll take our knife. I'm just going to cut a piece for you to try here. And
Now-
we have extra if anyone else wants to try some.
Looks like you're going to serve it with a spatula. Is it going to hold its shape like that?
We're going to find out. The first one's always the roughest to get out
Yeah, why is that?
because you don't have as much room to work with.
Okay.
If it doesn't keep its shape, I'm not real concerned about it. Okay.
This is when you hope that you buttered that pan correctly.
Really,
before-
Yeah.
really well, really well.
Okay. And then I have some forks if you gentlemen want to.
Try that. What, you brought silverware?
Plasticware.
I'm sorry.
Did he make you eat the spaghetti without silverware?
Well, no. Mike Sackley, who engineers the
about it.
program on the weekend, was worried that we didn't have
That was his biggest question.
silverware. It's very, very crisp. Can't chew on Mike. That's really good.
How is it? Taste mushroom?
good.
That's very good.
There's some
No.
cheese in it. Now, I know you generally don't like vegetables. Do you like mushrooms?
I do. I'm okay with mushrooms.
That's excellent.
Good. And that's your Thanksgiving your Thanksgiving stuffing that goes with your turkey.
I'm
Works
sorry,
for
I wanna
me.
eat.
Go ahead, eat. Does anyone have any questions?
I
Does
think-
everyone get it? I mean, I know we had a little issue, but
Yeah.
yeah. Good.
I think we're just probably out of time for
We
this
probably are.
segment, but why don't you tell them where they can find you if they don't know already?
Every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on 590 Radio WMBS, we have Just Cook It Radio. And you can also get us online at justcookit.net. It's JUSTCOOKIT.net.
And you can watch us every Sunday and Tuesday following the Herald Standard House to Home show, which is on Sunday at 12. We follow that at 12:30. And on Tuesday night, we are on at 8:30 on Fayette TV Channel 77.